What's up, everybody? We are back. John Delarose here. Delarose.com. That's DELARROZ.com. This is Batman Year 2, the Deluxe Edition. And I crumpled this up in my hotel room when I was out the other night, and I really messed up the dust jacket. I'm pissed at myself for that. My gosh. What a nightmare. Fortunately, this is not like a rare, expensive book, so not that big of a deal. You get some cool art on the inside. Now, Year 2 is a 1980s book from Batman. And what happened was Batman kind of reset with Crisis on Infinite Earths, and Frank Miller did his famous Year 1 story in there. Year 2 was supposed to be a follow-up to that, and it was written by Mike Barr and drawn by Alan Davis and Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane did the last 3 issues of this storyline, and this is Todd McFarlane's really early work. It's kind of cool to get into this. This is presenting that darker, more edgy Batman that Frank Miller sort of went into. It's not quite as dark as Year 1, I would say, on that level. But it is something that's interesting. So I actually love the art all the way through here. Alan Davis does a great job. He's probably one of my favorite comic artists, period. He just classic comic stuff. I'm glad to have it in slightly oversized art compared to normal. And Bruce Wayne's dating this girl who is trying to go into a convent. And there's this guy who shows up, and he's apparently an old school Gotham vigilante called the Reaper, and he kills the villains. He's awful. And Batman's supposed to show the difference between what a good hero is versus a bad anti-hero sort of setup. And the Reaper starts going too far. He starts killing cops. He beats up Batman, and that's where we're at this point. And Bruce Wayne's going to get back to it. So how far will he go? Well, we find out with Todd McFarlane's art. You see his style hasn't totally developed into Todd McFarlane's style yet. But look at this. At this point, his art was just so clean and just so nice. It is really a treat to read this right here. I absolutely love this art. It makes me happy to read over the course of things. Man, McFarlane just crushed it. Batman teams up in the second issue with gangsters, and he's going to use the gangster underworld to then defeat and find the Reaper. And he actually teams up with Joe Cool, who is the guy who killed his parents. So Batman tries to figure out that and process that, and he's still dealing with his relationship over the course of things. He kind of convinces that girl not to join a nunnery at this point, and they're going to get married, it turns out. And that's a shocker for Batman. Of course, Batman seems to tend to get married several times over the course of his career these days. And in the fourth issue, they finally have the final confrontation with the Reaper. You kind of see his early influence where it's going to get into Venom and Spawn and things like that with the Reaper here. Pretty cool. It definitely has that vibe to it. Like I said, a lot darker than a lot of earlier Batman stuff compared to this. So you get a very different sort of deal here. And that confrontation, Batman eventually wins. The Reaper ends up jumping off a building, and it ends up being the father of the lady he's dating. And she can't handle that loss or what he did, so she decides to go back to the convent and become a nun. And they don't get married after all. So that's that. I guess then in the 90s, they brought this back in a graphic novel called Full Circle. And Alan Davis and Mike Barr did it again. And this is an awesome, awesome book. Robin actually gets involved in this one. And the Reaper is coming back. He starts off with killing prostitutes, in the Jack the Ripper sort of style. And Batman and Robin hop on the case, try to figure out who this is. The gal is now a full-on nun, and I like the presentation of somebody being a nun and being positive and not being a bad person. It's kind of nice and refreshing. You don't really get that too much anymore in comics. So some good Catholic representation through here. All right. They eventually find the Reaper and try to figure out who it is, and it turns out it's the son of Joe Cool, who saw what happened with the Reaper and saw his father die back in the day, and then donned the mantle for himself to try to get back at Batman. Beautiful art again. I just love Alan Davis does a great job also, as much as Todd McFarlane does, especially as he progresses here into the 90s. You get to see a little earlier work and a little later work. It's pretty cool. And a great book overall. So I rate this a great Batman story. This was fun to read. 9 out of 10. I'd just say just good stuff all the way around. Very happy to read this. And very much worth the read. All right, hit that like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.